Thank you, Jeremy. Well, there's probably one thing that Jeremy didn't mention. I was aspired to be a medical doctor. Then I moved on to um, the art stream, and I graduated in economics, just like what Jeremy mentioned. And now I'm with the learning and training industry. So if you look into the whole piece, it has no interrelation at all. So do we actually live by choice or by chance? Probably this is one question that some of us would never even ask ourselves. Because not only when the times dawn on to us, we would then ask this question. So a lot of times when, through a few years that I've been working with different people, from youth, from students, youngsters, from people who are aspiring, very ambitious to meet their dreams, to someone who is kind of lost at some point of time, a lot of people ask me this question: how do you know what's your passion? I mean, after a while, and I sit down and think, the best answer that I've given to them is, I don't know, right? I don't know not because I don't have the answer. I don't know not because I really can't share what I think to them, but because everyone's path is very different. So here, all in all, I've actually going to sum it up to 3 things that we're going to do. And these 3 things is very important. First thing is really about seize all opportunities. In English term, in layman terms, try whatever that's come into your way. All right? So if I were to ask you these questions, when was the last time you said no, you turned down some opportunities that comes your way? When would that be? All right? For those of you who are here today, if you have been dragged by your friends, was it the second time when they ask you, or the third time when they ask you only you say yes? Where the first time when they ask you to, hey, let's come for this TEDx talk, I don't wanna, no time lah. All right? And that's where, most of the time when we turn down all these opportunities, we would never know what these opportunities will actually eventually lead us to. So here I'd just like to share with you a little story of mine on how did I aspire to be a doctor, ended up graduated in economics, then ended up with what I do. All this whole story actually starts from the time when I was in secondary school. So there was this time when this friend of mine actually asked me, hey, there's this, in secondary schools, we always said you need to join a uniform body. So my friend said, hey, why don't we join this? I said, okay, but I don't know what is that. So when I joined, so this is actually a first aid organization, St. John Ambulance Malaysia. And in fact, over the years, this is what I've collected. But what I just want to share with you is each and every batch, each and every items that you see here has a story. How do I move up from one level to another? It's not about me moving up from one level to another, but it's really very much about at every point of time, opportunity arises. As a first aiders, when I was in secondary schools, we're supposed to go for public duties. If I were to say no to all, I wouldn't have got this badge, which is not the highest, all right? But it's about the experience that I've gone through, all right? If I were not to say yes, when my officers at the point of time when I was in Form 3, I said, sir, I need to take a study break, because I was then kind of taking care of the whole division in the school, and he said, no, you got to be there. So, and that's how this thing moved up. But most of the time, after secondary schools, when we leave the school, what we do is we will just, whatever that we have done in the past is the past. But I don't know what happened to me. I also said yes to someone when they said, hey, why don't you join the adult division? Meaning to say we actually moved out, we continued the services. And this is what I moved into. All right? So each and every item, like I said, has its own story. Some of it is because of the years of service. Some of it is because of things that I've contributed, things that I've done. But the question is, if I were to have said no, I would not have embarked on this journey. But throughout, what actually amazed me the most, what actually motivates me the most, and why have I been in this organization for more than 10 years now, is because at every single moment when I said, I think I'm quite tired, I just want to leave this organization. But when I look back, there's a group of people who is actually I'm developing, and these are the people whom I actually say, yes, I should stay back for a bit longer. So of all these things, then it spans up to this picture. Now if you look at it, some of this picture I actually took from my Facebook page, some of it like I don't know how many years ago, but I thought that was great to kind of bring it back. But this was my first actually journey in terms of experiencing myself, what is training all about. So I was actually exposed to a team building company doing facilitations, and those are my teammates at that point of time. But all in all, why would I jump into this learning and development is because I have been doing trainings, developing people when I was in secondary schools, when I came out to schools. I actually spent 2.5 years in the finance in the department doing things that I found out that this is not what I want to be, and that's where this spans here. Now the other part of it is the whole story of it is whereby from here then I actually move on to, as a team building facilitator, I actually move on to the investment industry. I've actually then, continue doing training as well. I've also moved on to retail training, and now I'm in the human resource. So what I want to tell you here, or to share with all of you guys here is that even though I've locked on to my passion that, hey, learning and development is something that I want to do the most, but it doesn't stop me from moving from one industry to another, because going to different industry, I will actually meet with different people. Auntie, uncles, people who are ambitious, people who want to be entrepreneurs is where my investment industry is. People who sometimes are lost soul, people who sometimes wanted to do more, but they don't know how to. It could be wherever that I'm in now, which is the human resources, and to really help people to develop. So all in all, this first step is very important, to seize all opportunity. You really never know whatever you say yes today is going to lead you to. There's one quote that I would like to just give it to you is that the more yes you say today, the more no you're going to say in the future. Because when you are looking for a passion, you always ask, what should I do? What is my passion? When you don't know what you want, is to always try out whatever that comes to you. Because as you try along the way, you know that, this is the thing that I don't like to do. Then you drop it. If you try this, this is something that interests me, you do a bit more, but along the way, probably you felt that this is not really aligned to what you really believed in, you will drop it. But in the future, when the same opportunity comes, you know that you have tried this before, and you know that this is not the things that you want. So that is why taking action, seizing opportunity now is very important. Second thing, this is also something that I posted quite a while ago. It was in Ipoh. So there's this thing, I don't know how does this come from, but I just posted it up. It says, purpose is the reason you journey. Passion is the fire that lights your way. But the key thing is, how do I, continuously have my purpose and passion? So that's where the step number 2 that comes in, which is very important. That is to give a meaning to what you do. To really give a meaning to what you do. Recently I've actually read through this story, and I find this story is pretty amazing, and it's kind of linked to what I'm going to talk about today. This story, it talks about these 3 bricklayers. So there's this one guy, he goes to this construction site and saw these 3 bricklayers was doing the job. So he goes to this first bricklayer and asks, hey, can I ask you, what are you doing? So the guy said, I'm laying bricks. Okay, fine. So then he moved on to the second person, and he asked, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm actually building up a wall. All right? So he moved on to the third person, and he asked the same question. Hey, what are you doing? And he said, I'm actually building a house of God. What I'm trying to say here is, three person doing the same thing, ask the same questions, giving different answers. Because what they are doing, they are actually giving a meaning to it. Today, whatever that you're studying, do you study for the sake of studying because you just want to have good grades and you can't wait to graduate? Then you're probably at the bricklayer number one. But if you say today, I'm studying this so that I can have a better, good career, outstanding career in the future, then probably you are on the second bricklayer. But if today you say, whatever that I'm studying today, because I'm going to use this to impact someone else's life out there, then you would have moved to the answers of the third bricklayer. That's why giving meaning to what you do is very, very important. How does it help me to push on for the last 10 years or so? It's because of the meanings that I put onto it. But don't get me wrong. At any moment when you start, we will always start with the first bricklayer answer, move on to the second, move on to the third. But the key thing is, if you could put a meaning where it helps and impacting someone else, and that's where your meaning and your purpose would be much more stronger. Now there's this one more in KL. For those of you, if you're in KL or you've been to KL before, there's this one more, and there's this quote that is really, really inspiring. And it looks like this. It says, I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, because of you, I didn't give up. And this quote actually resonated me a lot because I'm in the learning and development industry. But come to think about it, ask yourself, would you one day want to inspire someone? It doesn't matter whether this someone is someone you don't know. It doesn't matter whether this someone is someone close to you. But eventually, all of us have this purpose to inspire someone. So if I were to challenge each and every one of you here today to complete this sentence by saying, I want to inspire people. I want someone to look at me and say, and you filled up the blank yourself. Because no matter what you do, no matter how big or how small the things that you do, eventually you are inspiring someone else. So, and the third step, the most important step, is to repeat step 1 and 2. Okay? Because whatever purpose or passion that you found today, it may not be your last. You would build it up again and again and again and again. You may move into different things again and again, but eventually you are able to string up and tell yourself that's your passion and that's your purpose. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, I'd just like to end this last slide with the questions of, do we live by choice or by chance? Thank you very much.